services in response to the recent appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the US dollar. And elsewhere, United States and China reached a deal to ease trade tensions 2 days after closed-door talks in Geneva. We've got the details of these stories and many others coming up shortly in the next 60 minutes. To stay with us here on Newsroom. Many thanks for joining this broadcast. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. The Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, has summoned the acting CEO of the Ghana GoldBod following a viral video in which the acting CEO, Sammy Gyamfi, is seen handing out money in public. Mr. Gyamfi gave out an undisclosed amount of foreign currency, reportedly the US dollar, to evangelist and former fetish priestess Patricia Odro-Kuranting, popularly known as Nana Agrada, or Mama Pat. The act has drawn sharp criticism from the public and within political circles, with many accusing him of breaching the newly introduced Code of Conduct for public office holders. Under intense pressure, Sammy Gyamfi also serves as the National Communications Officer for the MMDCE, issued a public apology via Facebook on Sunday, the 11th of May, expressing regret over the incident. And he describes it as a personal act of generosity that was never intended for public attention. Nonetheless, sources close to the presidency indicated that the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, is treating the matter with utmost seriousness owing to its potential political implications and reputational impact on the administration. Meanwhile, Nana Agrada has responded to the recent controversy. Here's what she had to say.
And I'm a papa ne kura sing. If you ya me di ma mu free, would your mammy full well? Abusua muntio, a me wie ya no. Na Mrs. Sammy ne kura sing. Would you me fear me di ma we? Would your mammy full well? Na at least Miss Makuma and Tommy yam. Na me se me charge moi. E yisika bebre enti mammy full. And a John Noah phone car to a phone car no. And a Miami Dinechi. Just walk for kind of crime at the talent, and a Miami Dinechi, and a ja, who ye the person, and all kind dollars, say, it's 1,000 was the same. And of the man into the mammy and a ja, it's your baba, Miss Somu.
Yeah, so that is Nana Agrada saying that she only asked for money for fuel, and when Sammy Gyamfi entered this vehicle and gave out the money, she took the money as money to support her in buying fuel for her vehicle. But we are joined now by Jonathan Asante-Autry, who is a political analyst. He's here to help us unpack this issue. Good morning and welcome to the bulletin. Now, looking at this matter in its entirety, here is someone who was saying that, well, I love to give. And here is someone who is as well a public officer. And here is someone who has to deal with the political divide. In your initial assessment of the entire situation, the very big question here is there wrong in this act?
Well, thank you. The name is Dr. Jonathan Asante-Autry,
Right,
Mr. Agyabeng.
yes.
So the point is that when you look at it from an ethical perspective, anything that you call good, or goodness in itself must be good in and by itself. Once it draws some kind of public criticism or ethical issues are raised out of that goodness, then it means that it has not yielded the right result. And so from an ethical perspective, you will say that everything is wrong about it. Especially when you look at the political terrain. And we are talking about someone who is by far more intelligent than the woman, who is by far more smarter than the woman. In this case, he himself has admitted that he acted indiscretionary. And so, obviously, it is goodness turned something else. An act of kindness that has yielded the undesired result. And that is how I put it.
Now, beyond what we saw over the weekend, there is, above the political commentary, we are seeing some action from government, the government within which he works with and even speaks for. We are seeing the chief of staff summon Sammy Gyamfi to the Jubilee House to have a conversation on this matter. Now, you've married the part where it talks about ethical, it talks about the man's own apology. In the summons, based on your analysis, what do you think would be the key issues that would be evaluated?
Well, in the first place, he ought to have been a little more smarter than what he did. He's really set a very high standard for himself in the public domain, putting the MPP to the wedge and to the sword. Therefore, they will come hard at him for not setting the right ethical standards. So, obviously, my hesitation has been to wait for what the presidency will do, especially owing to the fact that the president has really set a high standard, not only for his appointees, but for all Ghanaians, irrespective of being directly or indirectly appointed by the president. So that is a huge call on the presidency. It is just quite unfortunate. I felt that, look, whatever be the case, people will analyze this from different perspectives, and optically it doesn't look well for his political career as an individual. It does not in any way also bode well for the corporate entity that is called the NDC in government. So the call by the chief of staff or the summon by the chief of staff is in order, and some kind of reprimand will be in a good stead for the government, and especially the good name of the president. It is very difficult. I can appreciate that. Here is the case. Sammy Gyamfi is a darling boy or the person of the president and all the powers that be. But what he did is not good for the optics, for himself, for the grassroots of the party, for moderate Ghanaians. As for the MPP, they are going to take him to the cleaners, and also the elderly members of the party in government. It does not look well. It does not forebode anything good for them. Therefore, I'm very happy that for the first time, in the first place, he apologized. And so I'm expecting him to purge himself before Ghanaians, to purge himself before the grassroots, and purge himself profusely before the presidency. And whatever sanctions, either limitedly or whatever the president wants to decide, I think that will be the best way to go. It's not as if he's committed any crime, but it is just not good for the political terrain, especially when you did not do that when you were in opposition. Now you find yourself in government, you are doing something of that sort. And especially finding yourself in the public terrain now, and the position that you are occupying, that's a very sensitive position. And that in itself is also not equally good for the optics.
Speaking of reprimanding him to send a message to help make the optics better, many have had some suggestions. Some are calling for his immediate dismissal. Some even at a point have suggested that there should be suspension and even for him to even donate his salary to the Muhammad Cares Fund. But in your own session, what would be too extreme and what would be just okay?
Well, that is the decision of the appointer. And the only thing that is important is the fact that within the public domain, the president is showing consistency. Because if some groups of your appointees who had not submitted their, asset declaration forfeited 3 months of their salary, I mean, this one, you also spoke about discretion, integrity in, the code of conduct, prescribes opulence. And this in itself is opulence of a sort, because the woman concerned, the woman in the picture, in the video, is not somebody who is poor. Somebody who is suggesting to us that he gave his building to the NDC to facilitate their work. She is not poor. And I asked a certain question, if indeed the justification was the fact that she gave a certain building to the NDC and that she wants some kind of compensation or even fuel for that matter, she should have written to the national office that she should be compensated for having done A, B, C, and D. And so I do not know the extreme punishment, neither do I know the moderate punishment. What it should be in the public domain is that the president has demonstrated that consistency in terms of either some kind of sanctioning or injunction or reprimand, either publicly or something of that sort. But we also don't have to forget the fact that, look, the young man himself purged himself by apologizing profusely and unconditionally. He never knew that something of that sort was going to be recorded. And it saddens my heart that a smart person like Mr. Sammy Gyamfi will fall victim to this. It's just unfortunate.
Dr. Jonathan Asante, thank you so much for speaking with us on this particular matter. Well, let's shift focus as well to speak to an anti-graft campaigner and member of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, Adam Senanu. Good morning once again and welcome to this broadcast. On the same matter concerning Sammy Gyamfi, I spoke to Dr. Jonathan Asante just a while back and he says, well, ethically this is wrong. He is saddened by the fact that Sammy Gyamfi ought to have been smarter. But in the very concluding statement, he says that, well, the president just needs to demonstrate some leadership to ensure that people would see his government as one that doesn't tolerate opulence, because this in itself is opulence. The summons by the chief of staff, in your own assessment, is it in the right direction?
Well, yes, I would say it's in the right direction. I think it's important to note that he has not breached the Constitution, he has not breached any law, nor has he breached any policy. If you look at the Code of Conduct, it's an executive policy which does not even capture this kind of indiscretion. So perhaps at this point they may want to upgrade it and capture things that have to do with bringing the government into disrepute or ostentatious living. But to the extent that it's not reflected at the moment, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi hasn't breached anything. Right. Is there an issue? Yes, there is. What is the issue? When you transition from a private person to a public officer, as Article 1.1 of the Constitution says, whatever you do in the name of the citizens and for the welfare of the people. And it's to that extent that he needed to be circumspect as to how others might view this, ordinary citizens. He needed to be moderate, because you need to keep in mind the kind of challenges people are going through, and he needs to be measured in with whom he's engaging and what he's doing. So I don't think that there is a basis in law or by policy at the moment. I think that a caution, and that caution should not just go to him, to all of the appointees, that you've transitioned. In your private life, you could do humanitarian stuff, and if it's your own money, after all, he's a lawyer, he could have earned some dollars. But once you're serving the public, you need to be, as I said, circumspect, modest, and measured in what you do.
Now, looking at the grey areas of the Code of Conduct, indeed, rightly as you mentioned, there is no provision in the Code of Conduct in the fine details where he has breached this. But of course, there is the need for circumspection when it comes to how public officers hold themselves and how we hold them accountable. But on that score, does this bring to bear the urgency that perhaps the Code of Conduct in itself is not complete in this current form?
Absolutely. I mean, there are two elements of it. First of all, as an executive policy, I've always been concerned. Executive policy means only the president can sanction. If people don't identify an officer who may have, as it were, infringed on the policy, it doesn't get the president's attention. That person is not held accountable. That's not the best way to go. So in our view, in my view, the Conduct of Public Officers Bill needs to be passed with urgency. And in that document, you have much more comprehensive coverage of issues of ethics, of administration, etc. And even if this is not reflected, it may be a good time, therefore, to take the microscope to the document and make sure it's there. So two things. First of all, clearly the code of conduct as launched does not cover this. So the president will have a basis for sanctioning anybody. But secondly, more critically, this country deserves much better. We need to pass the conduct of public officers, because when you have a law, then all 35 million Ghanaians are party to holding duty bearers accountable. And that's the way to go.
And I'm saying, the Chief of Staff has summoned Sammy Gyamfi. In my conversation with Dr. Jonathan Asantri, he says, well, he cannot say which punishment will be enough or will be the stream. But on social media, people have had cause to say, well, suspend him, sack him, and donate his salaries. In your own, as a private citizen and from where you speak, what would be your suggestion on your take on this particular matter? On what would be the step that would be enough as a deterrent to other public office holders?
I think that at the moment, the only thing they can do is a caution. It is good that he's apologized. It's good that the Chief of Staff has called him. As I said, he's not breached any law. He's not breached any policy. He's not gone against the Constitution. And I'm sure he will to demonstrate that as a lawyer, this is money he personally earned. Mind you, he wasn't standing in the open. He was in his car. He had intended giving part of what he was given, and Agrada snatched the rest. It does not appear that he was intentionally making a display of it till Agrada got the camera guy and then started flaunting it. I think that a caution is good enough, and that caution should go to all appointees. A strong reminder that they have transitioned from private life, where such humanitarian acts will be viewed differently, to public life, where everything they do must be in the name of the citizens and for the welfare of the citizens. I think they need to upgrade their code of conduct to capture issues like this, and much more critically, let us pass the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That way, we can guarantee that we hold everyone accountable.
Adam Senano, thank you so much for speaking with us on this particular matter. He is an anti-graft campaigner. Still on the Sammy Gyamfi issue, former government spokesperson on economy, when I say Ata Brouhaha says the matter goes beyond just an apology. According to him, President Mahama must crack the whip on his code of conduct for public officers to serve as a deterrent to others.
Issue goes beyond mere apology. And let me even say that I was one of those who were very happy. I was very happy when His Excellency the President was appointing a lot more of the young people. And that's a clear indication that, of course, Ghana is getting to a stage where lots of the young people can be entrusted with the affairs of the nation. But when you see someone who was so strong, condemning people, condemning the SYLMPP administration as it relates to matters like this, and he himself, is seen caught on tape giving dollars to someone, it's uncalled for. And you see, the president must crack the whip.
Well, we understand the Chief of Staff.
Yes, I heard that. Right. It shouldn't end there. The president must crack the whip to uphold his own code of conduct. Far too long, it looks as if the appointees of this NDC administration, they are taking the president for granted. And it is so worrying. The president, of course, gave them the code of conduct, and even before that, he asked them to declare their assets. Lots of the appointees couldn't meet that. And it was unfortunate for the president to even come up with a bizarre, punishment of just deducting their salaries and all that. There should have been more punitive measures, right, so that they will not take the president for granted.
Well, government communicator Dr. Sammy Gyamfi believes the apology from the NDC's Director of Communications should suffice. He further mentioned that the summon by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, is a clear indication of the high standards of this government.
What has happened, and the apologies that has been rendered today or yesterday yes, by the CEO of GoldBod shows the high standard that we are setting as a government. It shows that lawyer Sammy Gyamfi has a high sense of responsibility. He has a high sense of respect for the people of Ghana. He is a patriotic person. He is sensitive to the individual plight of the people of Ghana and his party people. That is why he has rendered that apology. He is a product of generosity. As I sit here, I am a beneficiary of his generosity over the years. Many NDC people can attest to that fact. Indeed, we had comrades that unfortunately died before election. He took to himself to take care of their children until they are of age. It is something that he does for so many people. Unfortunately, this time around, we all saw that he was caught off guard. Indeed, a covert gesture that he intended to do became overt. You understand the point I make? He didn't.
But the point is that he saw people around, so he should have known better. That's the point that people have made over.
That's why he made a point that he exercised indiscretion. But the point is that he has apologized for that fact, and it will not happen again. It is a product of the high level of generosity that he exhibits. But that was not the case under the MPP. The last people to talk about this matter is the MPP.
Well, the minority in parliament is addressing the media on recent acts and with the controversy over the weekend. And before Wale, Dr. Kabiru Mahama has said that, suggesting that there's nothing wrong with the dollar gifts to Nana Agyabeng by Sammy Gyamfi is, he says there's nothing wrong with it. It is ridiculous. Our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Ibrahim Alasa, joins me now with the latest from this presser. Ivy, what more has Dr. Kabiru Mahama been saying?
The Wale MP, Dr. Kabiru Mahama, and immediate past economic advisor to the former Vice President of Mahmoud, is that they are demanding an immediate audit of Sammy Gyamfi to determine the source of the dollars that he first of all counted in his vehicle and then handed over to Nana Agyabeng. Aside the demand for a forensic audit, they argue that the action by Sammy Gyamfi is a flagrant disregard of the recently launched Code of Conduct of the John Mahama administration. And so they are demanding that the president speaks to this matter. In fact, to them, the fact that this has been more than 48 hours and there is no official communication from the presidency on the action by Sammy Gyamfi, it's untenable. Again, they indicate that they have heard that there have been some actions undertaken by national security operatives, including raiding the residence of Sammy Gyamfi. To them, it's a hearsay, but if that is the case, then that is very much welcome. They also welcome the fact that the chief of staff reportedly has summoned Sammy Gyamfi to come and answer questions relative to this particular action. But to them, to the minority, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi has breached the Currency Act, as well as the Bank of Ghana Act, and many other regulations in the country that bar individuals who have not been licensed to, first of all, hold, trade in, or transact business using any foreign currency, including the dollar. Again, Dr. Kabiru Mahama goes ahead.
We'll get back to IB for more on that. As you're saying, the minority is alleging that Sammy Gyamfi has breached the Foreign Exchange Act. We are not supposed to transact in dollars according to regulations provided by the Bank of Ghana. We'll get to that a bit shortly. But a youth advocacy group known as Youth for Action has strongly criticized the acting chief executive officer of the Ghana GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, over what they describe as a reckless display of indiscretion. This condemnation comes in the wake of public outrage following the controversial dollar giveaway to former fetish priestess turned evangelist Patricia Oduro-Cranton, known as Nana Agyabeng. Addressing the media at a press conference, the group's convener, Isaac Echampon, labeled the incident as regrettable and warned that such conduct could jeopardize future opportunities for Guinean youth into higher public office.
As a youth, this is the most unfortunate thing to happen to any youth. We always say we are the future leaders. People should give us opportunity to serve. That has been we have trumpeted that for so many years. So when opportunities are given to the youth, you expect that the youth will take that opportunity to prove to people that indeed we are capable. What Sammy Gyamfi did is unfortunate. And I don't believe that any youth will be happy about what happened. Because such things makes the future very bleak for we the youth. It should not be encouraged. All levels. Not at all.
When a politician or high-profile government official is caught on camera handing out cash, it's bound to spark debates, and Sammy Gyamfi's gesture to Nana Agradaa is just doing simply that. My colleague Senna Yato took to the streets to hear what Guineans think about this controversy. Listen.
He is known for his bold political statement, but this time it's not his words making headlines, it's his wallet. Sammy Gyamfi's act of generosity towards Patricia Asiedu, aka Nana Agradaa, is raising more than just eyebrows. From social media backlash to a sermon by the Chief of Staff, the heat is on. But how are Ghanaians reacting to this spectacle? Let's find out.
Once Cecilia Dapai's case came, he spoke his mind. And I agreed with him that he quoted the law that any money that cannot be accounted for has to be investigated. He's just 4 months into office, and he's been able to dole out dollars to an individual. And so Sammy should be able to tell us within the 4 months how much his salary is, that he can give this amount of money to one person. We are also not forgetting the fact that President Mahama has enjoyed a lot of goodwill from the people. We rejected the MPP for a reason. And so that should remind them that the same reason we rejected the MPP probably is the same thing they are doing.
Sammy Gyamfi shouldn't be somebody that should be holding dollars in this country. He's the one in charge of Ghana's gold at the moment. So he should be the first person to always change his money into cedis. Since the Bank of Ghana is trying to eradicate the tendency of dollars as the second legal tender in this country, he shouldn't have done that.
If Sammy Gyamfi is having his money and he has decided to give it to Agradaa, that's a donation. Why not? But in one way or the other, I would say Agradaa is not someone who is all that poor, or she is not poor. If like he is looking for someone that to donate her, at least he can go to the streets of Accra. There are beggars, there are a whole lot of people there that he can decide to give them money. By giving money to someone like Agradaa, then I would say it's a political theme or something like that.
The question is, why did he give her that money, and what for? There are lots of youth here who are unemployed, and they want some job, or even those on the street. You can even give it to them to buy something to feed. So my question is, why did Sammy Gyamfi give Agradaa that kind of money?
Well, that's the reaction of Ghanaians about Sammy Gyamfi's dollar controversy. We'll keep you updated on that. I'm Senna Ajato reporting for GHOne News and Star FM.
Well, we said that we'll keep reporting to you on what Ghanaians think. Just on the streets is not enough. The completeness comes with social media comments as well. And Nanama Akwa is standing by with all that many have to say.
Well, Emma, a lot of comments, but let's quickly flash through. When we stay with Facebook, Kwabena says the public purse is on fire. Augustina says Sammy is strong, he will pull through. Don't forget tomorrow, if you sought help from him and he denies you, don't call him stingy. Adam Mohammed says next time, you will be careful. Abraham says Sammy is competent in his job. We should think about that too. Michael says Swift, I love this. Punish him to serve as a deterrent to others. We also have Dada. The issue is the person he gave the money to. Leo Carter says, I see nothing wrong. Please forgive him. We have Kobe here too. Oh, camera summons. Sammy Gyamfi counted that amount of dollars. Then there were indeed a lot of dollars in the car. Raymond says Sammy Gyamfi, the CEO of GoldBod, is milking Ghana power. His new name is Dollar Distributor. And when we move over to Instagram, Hugh says NDC, NIF419, they're just doing this for the people to praise them, but in all honesty, ain't kosishi. Then we have Rain asking, what did he do wrong actually? Has he stolen government money to dash to people or what? I'm still confused. Jerome says, Sammy, you are only good at communication, but there are other things you do need to learn. Ohima says, hey, Sammy Gyamfi, were you charmed or what? This is unbelievable. When we move over to X, we have Yawa. For what reasons did he steal someone's money? It's his own money and he will spend it the way he wants to. Our last comment is Mr. Irish. Sack him. Summoning him to come and do what exactly? Just sack him if the supposed code of conduct is anything to go by. Well, there's a mixed bag there. Let's see what happens next. My name is Anama Aqua. Back over to you, Emma.
Well, in the Eastern region, the regional minister and the national leadership of the National Democratic Congress are collaborating to ensure the smooth confirmation of President John Dramani Mahamba's nominees for metropolitan, municipal and district chief executive positions. So far, 15 out of 33 have been confirmed of all the nominees. Eastern regional correspondent GHOne reports.
The Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Akosua-Gyawate, with strong backing from the regional executives of NDC, led by Regional Chairman Dr. Mark Oliver Kevo, is supervising seamless confirmation exercises for metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives in the region. Since the process began on Monday, 15 nominees have already received one-touch endorsements across several municipalities and districts. These include Empraiso, Kwewu West, Kwewu East, Etiwa West, Etiwa East, Kwaibi Brim, Achiase, Denchembo, Brim North, Brim Central. The rest are New Dublin South, Okre, Yellow Krobo, Lower Menya Krobo, and
so far it has been so good. We had about 600%, and all our confirmations went through. I just want to send a signal and a caution to all nominees that have been confirmed that we all have to get up and put our hands on the deck and start work as soon as we have been confirmed.
At Asujaman, Deputy Minister of Finance, also Member of Parliament for the area, Thomas Ampim-Nyako, urged residents and political stakeholders to prioritize unity and collective development over partisan differences.
Ongoing here, and your member of parliament is busy. He can't be coming all the time to follow through some of the things. So we need a DCE to be able to follow through. But GHOne is going to start projects, one project in each of the 5 public secondary schools I will have in the next coming week. Rural electrification in almost all the remaining communities where Sojamaiha won't need light. When they are connected to the national grid, you will begin to see work ongoing in them.
With 18 more to go, the confirmation exercises are expected to continue next week as Eastern Region works to fill all MMDCE positions under the Mahama-led administration to hit the ground running for developmental projects. Reporting for GHOne TV and Star FM, Kojo Ansa, Eastern Region.
We head up north on residents of Azumsapeliga, a community in the Binduri district of Ghana's Upper East region, are calling on authorities to investigate alleged military brutality during a recent operation by the Ghana Armed Forces. According to community accounts, the incident occurred shortly after drones were seen hovering in the night sky above the area. Several individuals reportedly sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment. While details remain unclear, residents say the military action is connected to recent disturbances in the nearby community of Gumyoko, where unidentified individuals allegedly burned down 12 houses. The urgent swift investigations and accountability for those involved. The police service and the military are here to respond to this allegation of abuse. Let's speak to our reporter there live, Atongo Kasim, for more details on this. Atongo, what can you report in respect of the number of persons who have suffered from this alleged brutality?
Good afternoon. We can report to our viewers that 26 people have been hospitalized in 2 different health facility in the Binduri district. Glory Medical Center in Bazua, and also Azumsapeliga Medical Center in Bazua as well. This brutality occurred later in the evening after the people in the area saw this cruise on the sky. Later, the brutality took place in this area. So the community, as we speak now, when I visit the community, the majority of them are saying they are not being told why they came to beat them up during the.
But do we know what led to the clash at Gumioko, where we understand 12 houses were burned, or nearby this particular community, Azumsapeliga?
So I can say all these attacks in the Gumioko community has to do with the Boko conflict. You know, we have some Bampusi group of people who live in the Binduri, particularly Gumioko. So last 2 years, there was an attack there, and last year there was an attack. So these houses there started burning last year. And yesterday, they also came up and burned these 12 houses. So it has to do with the Boko conflict, not different.
Atungo Kasim, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on happenings over there. We do understand that the police service and the Ghana Armed Forces are yet to respond to this alleged military brutality. It's time to bring you the latest updates in our world of business. Ayekusi on this recent call by the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA. Dr. Ayekusi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. This call from GUTA is one that we are seeing come on the heels of conversations from FABAC, as the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, and even from the GPRTU, the IAG, and all of that. Their concern, that is from the other trader unions, is that, well, we took our stock at a different price, and now it's declined. Do you want us to cut our gains and suffer losses, all in the best of safeguarding consumer prices? In all of this, what would you make of GUTA's call? Matching profitability against social impact.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon to all listeners. I think it's only a right call for GUTA to actually call its members to be able to reduce their prices. The conversation has been that whenever there is a depreciation in the city, one of the key things that traders use as a trump card to increase prices is depreciation of the city. In that same way, or in that same vein, if the city has gained value, it is appreciated, then it's a right call for GUTA to remind its members that there has been some appreciation, and therefore prices will have to come down for consumers to benefit. Remember that business goes on well when there are large volumes and not just one-time sales at higher prices. So I think it's a large call. It's a very good call for GUTA to put in members in the reminder that there's a need for a price reduction in the goods that they are selling. In any case, once the city appreciates, it means that the value of products will have to come down. So I think it's a right call.
Speaking of right calls, people have had cause to say that, well, when the exchange rate volatility was quite high, we saw some 17 Ghana cedis to the dollar. GUTA was quick to increase prices. Now they would have to issue a statement to reduce prices. So people largely look at this as a very unfair pricing regime we have in this country, to see by how much people can increase or not increase the price of their goods.
Well, I think that from an economist perspective, I think that I would like less government interventions in the market. We would like demand and supply to determine prices. So there are very few occasions where you want government to come in and look at one of the, especially for special goods and all of that. Yes, you want them to come in. But in this case, I think it is only right. You see, whenever we are making profit on the back of cheating people, that's not business, right? So for me, if you ask me, it's a right call. People have to talk to their conscience. See, you don't need government to come in when people are ethical and people behave well. So in the same thing that you increase prices, the dollar was appreciating against the cedi. If the cedi has gained power or gained some value, then it's in the right sense, and it's only what do you call it, fundamental human right that the same call should be also raised by GUTA, and I think it's the right call. Maybe they should put on paper at IT, telling them to reduce the prices as it stands now. But let's also take note that we have old stock. So maybe the old stock, which attracted the higher prices, can be sold off, and the new ones that are coming in should be priced at the current price. I think that's fair. And you see, ethics will tell you to do this. You don't need a government regulation to actually tell you and what do you call it, discussion for you to do this as a businessman. Remember that when you do this, you gain the trust of consumers. When you're able to reduce your price because prices are falling, then you are gaining some form of trust and some loyalty from your clients. And this is to the benefit of the traders. If they want to do this to keep their customers, they can do that. But if they keep price at par as it is now, I don't think that sends through some form of trust and loyalty for their clients. And it will be good in their interest, but to be in their best interest to actually reduce prices as the city has gained some power over the city.
Now, Dr. Kusi, before I let you go finally, the impact of consumer spend when we have a situation of higher prices, obviously supply is not able to meet demand. All of those dynamics come to play. But if we are seeing the dollar appreciate, we are seeing an increase in consumer spend. For the overall health of our economy, what would it be?
So if I get you right, you are saying that we have to balance social welfare with profits. Is that the question?
Yes.
What is profits and what is social welfare? So we'll be able to gain from it, and that sends that signal that prices will have to be reduced at the expense of private interest. So for me,
unfortunately, we have lost Dr. Ban Ayekusi. Let's do some other story. And here, President John Dramani Mahama says a united Africa with a shared vision and coordinated action would help the continent address its mounting debt burden and deliver prosperity for generations.
And in this, I say innovation must guide our debt strategy. And I think Mr. Vilakazi and those who spoke before me spoke about it, Mr. Gatete. Exploring these options alongside broadening the tax base, digitizing revenue collection, and enhancing domestic capital markets to reduce dependency on external borrowing. How do we redefine Africa's debt narrative? Let us leave here with a renewed vision, a vision where debt is no longer synonymous with crisis, but with capacity, where our economies are built not on extraction and aid, but on innovation, value addition, and equity, and where we act not as debtors pleading for relief, but as partners demanding reform. Let us redefine the African debt narrative. Ghana stands ready, shoulder to shoulder, with our fellow African nations to champion this agenda. Let us walk this road together with courage, clarity, and commitment. Africa, united in vision and action, can overcome its debt challenges and deliver prosperity for generations of Africans yet to come. I thank you for your kind attention.
Ghana's energy sector is set for a major boost as Cosmos Energy has pledged a $2 billion investment in its upstream operations of the country. The announcement was made by Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinopor, at the 2025 Africa Energy Forum held on the sidelines of this year's Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas. The commitment from Cosmos Energy, a key player in Ghana's petroleum sector, is expected to drive significant growth in exploration and production activities. It also reflects renewed investor confidence in Ghana's energy future and regulatory landscape. To complement this momentum, John Jinopor revealed that the government will undertake a comprehensive review of Ghana's upstream fiscal regime. The aim is to enhance competitiveness, simplify regulations, and further boost investor confidence. It's now time for us to bring you the latest in our world of sports. Let's do that now.
Now, thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. My name is Monica Bukari. Let's begin with athletics. And Ghana's men 4x100 relay team, led by Captain Joseph Paul Amoah, has qualified for this year's World Athletics Championship in September. The team finished second in the first 3 heats with a time of 38.32 seconds at the ongoing World Athletics Relay in Guangzhou, China. Ghana's qualification comes at the back of failing to qualify on day one of the competition after finishing third in its heat with a time of 38.49 seconds. The relay quartet was made up of Barnabas Agye, Joseph Bokpen and Ibrahim Fuseni. Ibrahim Fuseni, who ran the anchor leg, made a time of 9.04 seconds. Now, still in athletics, Ghana's 100-meter record holder Benjamin Azamati came second in 100-meter semi-final at the Franson Last Chance and Maltese, California, running a time of 9.93 seconds with a plus 2.9 ms wind behind Fred Kelly, who won the race. The result, however, is not considered legal due to the wind reading, but it's an improvement to his fresh start of an outdoor season. Previously, the Olympian semi-finalist has run 10.07 seconds and 10.02 seconds in his last 2 meets. The 27-year-old will further look at other competitions in Europe this summer to enable him meet his qualification target for Tokyo Olympics qualification. Now, qualification ends in August 24th. Now in football, let's get to Egypt as Ghana gears up for the quarter-final showdown against host nations Egypt in the ongoing Total Energies Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2025. Defender Aaron Esau projected the perspectives of the satellites of a pre-match press conference, noting the team's unwavering focus and dedication and ready to give up their very best on the field today.
Us, we are still on the preparatory zone, and I don't want to say much, but we will do our best on the field. So the field will decide which country is the best. So I haven't watched them. All my focus is on tomorrow's game. So for me, it's a final game for me as well.
And that's all for sports, but do join us again at 1 p.m. as we bring you more sports on the game. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Emmanuel.
Monica, thank you so much for giving us the latest in our world of sports. It's now time to head to the entertainment zone. In his own, Ghanaian actor Kofori, known for his role in the popular TV series Efiura, has been granted bail in the sum of 320,000 Ghana cedis with 3 sureties after pleading not guilty to charges of defrauding by false pretenses. The actor, whose private name is Samuel Seth Kwabanachere Kakari, allegedly defrauded a California-based victim of $50,000 under the guise of a legitimate investment opportunity. The Dansuman Circuit Court, presided over by Her Honor Mrs. Halima El Alawa Abdul Basit, granted bail after Kofori's lawyer Derek Asamoah urged the court to admit him on grounds that he had substantial sureties and was not a flight risk. The prosecution, led by Chief Inspector Christopher Wonder, did not oppose the bail application as part of the bail conditions. Kofori is required to report to the case investigator every Monday and deposit his Ghana card with the court registry.
In full, because Kofori took $50,000 to purchase the land for the complainant, and out of the $50,000, at that time when the money came, it was 270,000 Ghana cedis, and so he used 160,000 Ghana cedis to purchase the land. As at that time, the exchange rate was 5.5, and so the amount he used was $30,000. And apart from that, he paid $5,000 to the complainant. Now, the issue in contention is the size of the land and the amount left to be paid to the complainant. And so he paid $5,000 to the complainant, and the amount left was $15,000. And the police is charging him for $50,000, of which he has paid the amount in full. And so I don't see why the police, knowing very well that the amount has been paid, and you are still charging the person for the figure that has been used to procure the land for the complainant. That is our case. Okay. By any event, he has been granted bail, so...
You just heard a legal counsel for Kofori, that is Derek Abuaji Assam. Away from that, co-founder of Oh My Hair, Oh My Nails and Office and Co, Sawami Hair, has charged business owners to prioritize the well-being and the joy of their staff, as the strength of every business lies in the capacity of its staff. She made us known on her Mother's Day as her company, a leading brand in her beauty and fashion industry, feted the mothers of its staff members as Ghana joined the rest of the world to celebrate the invaluable contribution of mothers. The event, held at the company's headquarters, saw numerous mothers honored with special treats, including pedicure, manicure, and hairstyling with some cash. Let's move on this report.
Back to society and appreciating the contributions of its staff members, Oh My Hair and Office and Co, leading brands in the beauty and fashion industry, invited the mothers of each staff member to celebrate their resilience as mothers and appreciate them for birthing geniuses that work with the brands. They were given special beauty treatment, from hair and makeup to pedicure and manicure. They were provided with sumptuous meals and presented assorted items and cash. This act of kindness, the company says, is a form of appreciation to the staff who have kept the brands alive and to celebrate their wonderful moms. Here is Sewa Amihir, co-founder, highlighting the essence of the gesture and urging other business owners to prioritize.
We appreciate our staff. You know, the strength of the business lies in the staff and the work that they do. if you let your workers feel appreciated and know that you love them and you appreciate them, they put in the work and then the money is going to come, right? And I think that over time we have shown our workers that we truly appreciate them, we truly love them, and we're extending it to their mothers so that they know how much grateful we are for all the work that they are doing for us. So ultimately, I'm sure that, in their own, little subconscious mind, they will know that the business appreciates them, and so they need to put in their best.
The news team caught up with some mothers who were full of gratitude, shedding light on their experience and urging the public to patronize the services of Oh My Hair, Oh My Nails, and Office & Co.
She has made something unique, which I've never experienced it before. Giving us food, making us fine. Upon top of it, she has given us parcels too, with money and so envelope and so forth. So she has done well. We pray that she continue with it.
This is the first of its kind that I've seen. That on a day like this, they award parents, especially mothers, for allowing their daughters to work in an organization. I mean, it's unheard of. I'm so impressed that I'm lost for words. And the whole place has been fun.
Me buy so dem de mani abehu e bo my me sa mam che say enije na akoso ha no e bro me so mani agye abro so na kakra metimi aka ne say Ewrade nkoso ama say wane ni nua hoden enkwatenten a omo mram ye awofo de da ma omo mra ye ma no omo nkoso na odo na omo de ene ye ma na sha ase no sa odo ne nkoso antena se na me de dan da nyine mpa ya mebo ama omo say omo dwuma no asem tre enye enkra ha ya nko a ebekọ echichi because there o man no abro me so
mi pie ye no afi mi si na de ma ba hada obia ehia mi obia sreche mi na mi si sani omo ye wa hada no kure ni eye fe eye nika omo nkoso na omo nyesa mo nyesa ne omo hu omo ma me no nti e na omo be sa de omo ye wa ha no different nti omo nkoso na omo nyesa.
A noteworthy move there by Sawam. Here, time to do some international news. On international fronts, the United States and China say they've reached a deal to ease trade tensions after 2 days in closed-door talks in Geneva. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent described the discussions as productive and constructive, while China's Vice Premier He Lifeng called them in-depth and candid. It marks the first face-to-face meeting between the two sides since President Trump imposed stiff tariffs earlier this year. As part of the breakthrough, both countries are expected to slash reciprocal tariffs for a 90-day period. That does it for the entire broadcast. Many thanks for staying with us throughout the 60 minutes bulletin. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Have a wonderful afternoon.